Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India-Spain ties get a major boost with the inauguration of C295 aircraft plant in Vadodara. Several MOUs signed during the landmark visit of Pedro Sanchez, including railways, customs and culture. Japan's Prime Minister, Shigeru Ishiba, vows to keep ruling the world's fourth largest economy despite a bruising loss suffered by his party in a snap general election. Israel continues to pound Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Both sides also exchange fire as Egypt proposes a two-day ceasefire in Gaza to exchange 4 Israeli hostages for some Palestinian prisoners. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, inaugurated the C295 aircraft facility in the western Indian state of Gujarat. The Tata Advanced Systems Limited (TASL) Airbus facility will manufacture C295 military aircraft in India's Vadodara, becoming the first private sector final assembly line for military aircraft in the country. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Modi underscored that the facility will not only strengthen India-Spain relationship but also boost ambition of Make in India, Make for the World. Further, the Prime Minister noted that the C295 aircraft factory is a reflection of the new work culture of New India.
C295 एयरक्राफ्ट की फैक्ट्री नए भारत के नए वर्क कल्चर की उसको भी रिफ्लेक्ट करती है। आज किसी भी योजना के आइडिया से लेकर एजुकेशन तक भारत किस स्पीड से काम कर रहा है, ये यहां दिखाई देता है। 2 साल पहले अक्टूबर महीने में इस फैक्ट्री का निर्माण शुरू हुआ। आज अक्टूबर महीने में ही ये फैक्ट्री अब एयरक्राफ्ट के प्रोडक्शन के लिए तैयार है। मेरा हमेशा से ये फोकस रहा है कि प्लानिंग और एग्जीक्यूशन में अनावश्यक देरी न हो।
On the occasion, the President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, said that this partnership between Airbus and Tata will contribute to the progress of the Indian aerospace industry and will open new doors for the arrival of other European companies.
Airbus opens a new chapter partnering with India's defense and space industry. This project strengthens our industrial ties while underlying our country's deep commitment as a reliable and a strategic partner. And it shows as well the capabilities of the Spanish defense industry with its world-class expertise and its well-earned international reputation. Spain, like India, is promoting an ambitious roadmap to modernize its productive fabric with decarbonization and digitalization as drivers. The automotive, aerospace and renewable energy sectors are leading a genuinely strategic transformation that my country approaches with confidence and optimism.
Both the leaders toured an exhibition that depicted the defense prowess of both India and Spain. This was in Vadodara, the Tata complex there. Prime Minister Modi and the President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, met at Vadodara's Lakshmi Vilas Palace. The leaders held discussions on the entire spectrum of India-Spain ties. Prime Minister Modi posted on social media platform X, elaborating upon the discussions held with the President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez. He wrote that they were productive and they took stock of the progress in India-Spain relations across diverse sectors. He further wrote that they wish to add even more momentum in bilateral ties, especially in trade, commerce, culture, innovation, technology and more. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the inauguration of the C295 plant marks the beginning of a new chapter of partnership, highlighting the strength of India-Spain relations.
C295 प्लांट के उद्घाटन के साथ साझेदारी के एक नए अध्याय की शुरुआत भी हुई है। एक्सेलेंसी, हमारी साझेदारी सदियों पुरानी है। लोकतंत्र और रूल ऑफ लॉ जैसी वैल्यूज में साझा विश्वास हम दोनों को जोड़ता है। इकोनॉमी, डिफेंस, फार्मा, आईटी, साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी जैसे कई क्षेत्रों में हमारा मजबूत सहयोग है और हम दोनों वैश्विक शांति, समृद्धि और सहयोग पर बल देते हैं। एक्सेलेंसी, पीपल टू पीपल कांटेक्ट हमारे संबंधों का मजबूत नींव प्रदान करता है।
Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, also held a roadshow in Gujarat's Vadodara and greeted people standing on both sides of the avenue. Performers dotted the sides of the road, showcasing India's rich culture in the form of dances and traditional costumes. People were seen waving at both the leaders as they were given a rousing welcome to the visiting dignitary. Sanchez is visiting India for the first time, in fact. The visit of the President of the Government of Spain is taking place after 18 years. Earlier, the Indian Prime Minister and Sanchez have met several times on the sidelines of various multilateral meetings. During the roadshow, a specially abled girl presented portraits of the Indian Prime Minister and the President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, in Gujarat's Vadodara. Addressing media on President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez's visit to India, External Affairs Ministry's Secretary West, Tanmay Lal, said that C295 plant is a collaboration between Tata Advanced Systems and Airbus Spain.
Joint inauguration by the two leaders of the Tata aircraft complex in Vadodara, which will be producing the C295 military transport aircraft. This plant, as you would know, is a collaboration between the Tata Advanced Systems Limited and the Airbus SE Spain. You may recall that the foundation stone for the plant had been laid only 2 years ago by Prime Minister Modi.
Tanmay Lal also mentioned that the two leaders held bilateral talks, discussed various global issues, including that of Ukraine and West Asia.
The joint inauguration was followed by delegation-level talks, which were held at the Lakshmi Vilas Palace. The two leaders discussed the entire range of bilateral engagements, as well as global issues of mutual interest and concern, including Ukraine and West Asia.
The External Affairs Ministry's secretary highlighted wide-ranging India-Spain bilateral trade, which now stands at $10 billion.
Bilateral trade, India and Spain, is now of the order of $10 billion annually, and total investment from both sides ranges, in the case of Spain, $4 billion into India, and almost $1 billion by Indian companies in Spain.
It was also informed that during the President of Government of Spain's latest visit, several memorandum of understanding were also signed. These included areas such as that of railways, customs, culture and more.
Several MOUs have also been signed during the visit. These include areas such as railways, customs, a fast-track mechanism for facilitating investments and other trade issues, cultural exchange program for the year 2024 to 2028, a audio-visual joint commission, and also the year 2026 is being designated as the India-Spain Year of Culture, Tourism and Artificial Intelligence.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Bharat Mata Sarovar in Gujarat's Amreli on Monday as well. This project was developed through a collaboration between the government of Gujarat and the Dholakia Foundation under the public-private partnership model. It aims to significantly improve ease of living and accelerate growth in the region. Prime Minister Modi also laid the foundation stone for various developmental projects of worth 4,900 crore rupees at Amreli. More from Asia. Japan election results have ended up like a boxing match, with the LDP, Liberal Democratic Party, bruised but still standing. The Liberal Democratic Party and its longtime junior coalition partner, Komeito, failed to secure a majority in the lower house on a bruising night in which the main opposition, Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, made significant gains. The result which left no single party with a clear mandate. So what are the options for the government formation as the mad rush for partners to stay in power intensifies? DD India's Anil Thomas reports.
The snap election gamble has boomeranged in Japan and casts a shadow over political and economic developments in the world's fourth largest economy. LDP and Komeito won a combined 215 seats, down from 279 and well below the 233 they needed to retain their majority. Two cabinet members lost their seats, as did several other candidates implicated in a slush fund scandal that has battered the LDP's approval ratings in recent months. The biggest winner was the CDP with 148 seats, up from 98. Having seen his snap elections gamble fail, Prime Minister Ishiba must now attempt to cobble together a three-party coalition that could include MPs from the centre-right Democratic Party, For the People, or the populist Japan Innovation Party.
With regards to what kind of government framework we will consider in the future, at this moment we are not envisioning a new coalition.
Under Japan's constitution, the parties now have 30 days to put together a coalition, but pressure is expected to mount on senior politicians to act quickly. The gridlock comes at a time of uncertainty for Japan's economy, growing concern over China and North Korea, and just days before the US presidential election. The political turmoil comes ahead of a Bank of Japan meeting this week. The central bank is likely to leave its rates unchanged when it announces its decision on Thursday. On Monday morning, the benchmark Nikkei 225 rose about 1.73%, leading gains in Asian markets, while the yen weakened to a three-month low, trading at 153.49 against the dollar. A weak yen usually boosts Japan's stocks, which are heavily weighed towards exporters. This political quagmire scenario, which may not bode well for the yen and the Nikkei, at least in the short term, but will Bank of Japan continue on its path to normalize Japan's monetary policy independently of the political landscape? The road ahead is bumpy, but a politically stable government is needed to revive the Japanese economy. Anil Thomas, DD India.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Drones also become a bone of contention between North and South Korea. We also bring you more on UNICEF's You Win initiative, digitizing India's universal immunization program.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. On the eve of the launch of UWIN, a groundbreaking technological innovation for universal immunization that would digitally empower millions of children and mothers towards vaccination in India, Dr. Rodrigo H. Offrin, WHO representative to India, complimented the Indian government for this achievement.
Congratulations to the Government of India for UWIN. This consolidates India's position as a global leader in digital health. Indeed, the future is digital, and UWIN is the game changer that will strengthen routine immunization through optimal use of near real-time data to ensure all pregnant women and children are protected against vaccine-preventable diseases. The numbers we are talking about are colossal. India's universal immunization program has a goal to immunize 29 million pregnant women and 26 million infants each year against vaccine-preventable diseases. UWIN ensures efficient and seamless service delivery at scale by registering every pregnant woman and child under 5 years for routine immunization, and also using GIS-based microplanning and GIS tagging to ensure no one is missed. UWIN has further strengthened India's national digital health mission in creating an interconnected digital health ecosystem for optimizing the use of available resources to ensure no one's health is left behind. UWIN works much like the CoWIN portal that we are all familiar with. It is technically very sound and allows for self-registration online, booking vaccination appointments, with a provision for walk-in registrations. There are also features like automated reminders through SMS and QR code-based e-vaccination certificates. As a single source, near real-time vaccination data platform, it allows for feedback to the program for action. UWIN makes it easier to vaccinate and protect every child and every pregnant mother. Congratulations, India, for this winning platform. UWIN makes us all win.
On the eve of the launch of the UWIN portal, as mentioned, groundbreaking technological innovation for universal immunization that would digitally empower millions of children and mothers towards vaccination in India. DD India's Dibindu Mondal spoke to resident representative of the UNDP India, Angela Lusigi, on how exactly this portal would benefit mothers and children.
After the successful implementation of the CoWIN portal during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Government of India is on a yet another journey of technological marvel in the healthcare sector, and this time by launching the UWIN portal, which will perhaps provide a universal immunization portal for Indians across the country. And to talk more on this, I'm joined by the UNDP India representative, Angela. Welcome to Doordarshan. Your first thoughts on what this UWIN portal entails?
As you know, India's universal immunization program is very ambitious. Every year, they aim to register at least 29 million new mothers and 27 million newborns. That's massive. So the UWIN platform is a digital registry. And it's very useful because it's an electronic register for every new mother and newborn child, which helps track their immunization from birth. Now, it's very unique because every new mother and child gets a unique identifier, which means that if they move from one part of the country to the other for work, for instance, they're still able to access immunization from any healthcare facility. It also gives them a digital certificate so they can be able to recognize the vaccinations that they have. But most importantly, it also helps healthcare workers to be able to track and mobilize every newborn child to be able to access the vaccines.
India's immunization program, given the fact that it has a huge population, is immense. What lessons perhaps, or what is the success story perhaps in the India's immunization, universal immunization sector?
Actually, India has been very successful because of two main reasons. One reason is a huge outreach. For example, we know about the mission Indradhanush, which is really powerful in mobilizing frontline health workers to be able to reach every mother and child. Another lesson really has been the application of digital technologies. We know that India has been at the forefront through the EVIN, as you mentioned, which is an electronic vaccine intelligence network. And through this network, they've been able to track the whole supply chain for vaccines, which actually makes it much more efficient. But now the UN is making sure that every mother and every child has a chance to get a life-saving vaccine.
India's digital sector, as well as the amalgamation of digital in the healthcare, is going to go leaps and bounds from here. But thank you once again for speaking to Doordarshan. This is Dibyendu Model from New Delhi with camera person Vishwabandhu for DD India.
Some business news now. The prospect of another Trump presidency in the US has driven down some European stocks. Joining us with more on this, about how Europe is already feeling the effects of the US election next week on Tuesday, is DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu. Chimbelu joins us from Berlin now. So how is the US election affecting business in Europe, Chiponda?
Well, it is the prospect of the EU facing a trade war with the United States if Republican nominee Donald Trump were to become president. Now, that is what is driving down some European stocks, even though we don't know who will be the next U.S. president. Of course, that will happen next week. Now, polls continue to show that the race is too close to call. So it could very well be that Democratic nominee Vice President Kamala Harris wins. Still, the shares of companies in European sectors that export heavily to the U.S. have been punished at the markets. And that's mostly the auto industry and makers of luxury goods. Now, one list indicates that the share prices of more than 24 stocks in those sectors have declined more than 7% since the end of last month. Now, that includes companies like German car maker Volkswagen and the luxury goods conglomerate France's LVMH. Now, investors are worried that Trump would impose tariffs. He has said that he would introduce tariffs of 20% on European goods.
And how exactly do you see relations between Europe and the US changing in that scenario?
Well, a Harris presidency wouldn't change relations between Washington and Brussels, but a Trump presidency would, of course. Now, when Donald Trump was president, he preferred bilateral talks with individual EU member states. Now, that strategy could help him divide the EU and make it easier for his administration to get what it wants. Some EU leaders are thought of as potential interlocutors for the bloc, though, and the most likely to get Trump's ear are Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, Italian PM Giorgia Meloni, and the Polish President Andrzej Duda. And that's because all these leaders have positioned themselves as like-minded Trump allies in Europe. The only problem is that they do not all have the same agenda. Hungary's Orban would be emboldened by a Trump victory ideologically, but he wouldn't use his Republican connections to speak on behalf of European interests. And meanwhile, Italy's Meloni and Poland's Duda will have differences with Trump when it comes to Ukraine. So the EU may very well need a different tact.
Thank you, Chiponda, for those updates. On to West Asia now. Egypt has proposed an initial 2-day ceasefire in Gaza to exchange 4 Israeli hostages for some Palestinian prisoners after more than a year of conflict between Israel and Hamas. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi made the announcement on Sunday as efforts to defuse conflict in West Asia resumed in Qatar with the directors of the CIA and Israeli intelligence agency Mossad's chief David Barnea. Meanwhile, Israel maintains that the conflict cannot end until Hamas is wiped out as a military force and governing entity in Gaza. Calling it an infringement upon Pyongyang's sovereignty, North Korea blamed South Korea's military for sending drones into its territory for political purposes. Meanwhile, South Korea's military on Monday termed Pyongyang's argument on drone intrusion as unilateral claims and said that the North had entered its airspace multiple times over the past 10 years. in Sri Lanka, following the modernization of the 65-kilometre-long Maho-Anuradhapura section of the Northern Railway line, train services between Colombo and Kanke-Santurai resumed on Monday. Sri Lankan Railway Department has said that the first train departed from the Colombo Fort Railway Station today for Kanke-Santurai. The trains from Kanke-Santurai will commence service tomorrow. The modernization work was completed by IRCON International Limited at a cost of $91.27 million, completed under an Indian credit line. Indian brands shine bright at the Dubai Premier Beauty and Wellness exhibition called Beauty World Middle East 2024. The exhibition, launched on Monday morning, is the 28th edition of the trade show, organized by Messe Frankfurt Middle East at the Dubai World Trade Center. With a significant Indian presence, 22 companies from the subcontinent's burgeoning cosmetics sector aim to expand their footprint in the Gulf region and beyond. The Indian Trade Promotion Organization has orchestrated this participation, underscoring India's growing influence in the global beauty market.
We are manufacturer of skincare and hair care products, and we are here in Beauty World Middle East. This is one of the most premier and largest exhibitions of this region for beauty industry. And based on my previous experience, I am exhibiting here to find importers in GCC and African countries who can import our products and distribute in their countries.
This year's Beauty World Middle East provides Indian companies a strategic platform to strengthen their presence in the GCC markets and expand westward.
We have 22 participants from India showcasing different products relating to beauty and skincare products. This is B2B exhibition, and here we are displaying different products related to skin, cosmetics, and henna. Henna is a main component we are displaying here.
In Bangladesh, a writ petition was submitted to High Court in Dhaka on Monday. The petition seeks restriction on political activities of 11 political parties, including the Awami League. The latest petition follows a prior application filed in August, which called for a full ban, but it was subsequently rejected by a High Court dual bench on September the 1st. Earlier, on 23rd of October, the interim government of Bangladesh, led by Professor Mohammad Yunus, imposed a ban on Awami League student wing, the Bangladesh Chhatra League, citing provisions of the Anti-Terrorism Act. And as we wind up this bulletin, here's a story on the preparations for the upcoming Hindu festival of Diwali. As Diwali approaches, a growing number of consumers are turning to local handmade products to celebrate the festival of lights. The trend, known as Vocal for Local, aims to support Indian artisans, boost the local economy and preserve traditional craftsmanship. Here's more on how this Diwali locally made products are lighting up homes across India.
This Diwali, the spirit of Vocal for Local is transforming the way people shop for the festive season. With a rise in demand for Indian-made products, the spotlight is on small businesses and local artisans producing everything from handcrafted decor to eco-friendly diyas.
हमारे ये कलर्स हमने अपने हाथों से बनाए हैं, वॉल हैंगिंग से हाथ की बनी हुई है, और दिए हैं डेकोरेट किए हुए हैं हमारे हाथ से, और कुछ हमने ये तोरण बनाई है जो हमारे हाथ की बनी हुई है, जो देखने में बहुत सुंदर भी है और अच्छी सेल भी हो जाती है हमारी अपने हाथ की बनी हुई.
These artisans here, they are selling such beautiful things, handmade things, which is so eco-friendly, and being with them and seeing their artwork in our festival would definitely highlight my festival and make my festival so lighted and bright.
I just opt for going for these handmade products made by these local people. I prefer those instead of going to the malls, buying say imported stuff and all. I prefer buying it from them.
In the last few years, the Indian government's initiative, Vocal for Local, has encouraged businesses to promote regional crafts, boosting India's economic self-reliance. From terracotta lamps to handmade sweets and textiles, consumers have a wide range of quality and locally made products to choose from.
With millions celebrating Diwali with locally made products, the Vocal for Local campaign is helping to revitalize the Indian traditional art forms and supporting India's economical resilience. This festive season, the true glow of Diwali shines not just in homes but also in the lives of the local artisans across the country. With video journalist Praveen Sharma, along with Kriti Vadera, this is Sumana Bati Revana Siddappa from New Delhi reporting for DD India.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can download our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms for quick news and updates on the go. So we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.